Many of us carry deep-rooted prejudice, beliefs that cause us to jump to conclusions about other people. Sometimes we react when we should take a second to reflect. Have you ever disliked someone even before you got to know them? Perhaps they dressed a certain way or said one little thing that offended you and you immediately judged them as unworthy of your respect. I know I have, and I'm not proud of it, but I'm a flawed human just like everyone else. This morning I read a quote from a book called The Art of Worldly Wisdom by Balthazar Gracian, and it got me thinking. And if you'll allow me, I'd like to share that quote with you right now. Fun fact, this book was written over 300 years ago. Well, at least I thought it was a fun fact. We hate some people instinctively, even before we are aware of their good qualities, and sometimes this vulgar natural aversion is directed towards good people. Let prudence keep it in check. There is nothing more self-demeaning than to hate a good person. That was written over 300 years ago, yet it could have just as easily been talking about today, don't you think? These days it's easy to condemn other people based on nothing more than a slight political leaning or religious belief. Look around the world. How many people pick a side on some issue and immediately look at anyone on the other side as the enemy? And our media sure doesn't make it any better. They propagate discontent just to sell headlines and advertising space. Add to that, many of our politicians stand on high horses and point their finger at the enemy just to get your vote. And if that's not bad enough, to make matters even worse, when large groups of people get together, look out. Mob rule takes over and people just start throwing rocks at anyone who disagrees with them. Let's face it, these days sometimes all it takes is a small disagreement to upset large groups of people. But I have a theory that it doesn't have to be this way. Mind you, I have nothing but anecdotal evidence to support this theory, but I do believe it's possible. Imagine what the world could look like if more people took just a minute to see beyond the differences in others and instead look for something we have in common. Does this sound ridiculous or foolish? Well, maybe it is, but what if? Now, I'm not saying all people deserve our approval. People who spread violence and bigotry have no place in my world. In fact, I've met a number of people over the years that I'd just as soon punch in the face as well as talk to. But back to my theory. Imagine a world where we could disagree with someone, even on a political or religious issue, and we could overlook those differences and still find common ground that we can agree on. What would that look like? Of course, I'm not pretending that all it takes to heal our stressed out world is a great big collective hug. That would be naive. But what I am suggesting is maybe if more of us looked for common ground with others, instead of focusing on the differences, well, like I said, it's just a theory so far. I plan to put it to the test, at least with the people I meet over the coming days and weeks. If I find myself disagreeing with someone, I'm going to look for something we can agree on. My theory is if we can plant the seed and nurture it, then maybe something good will grow. I think it was Gandhi who said, be the change you want to see in this world. So that's what I'm going to try and do. What about you? Are you willing to give someone on the other side a chance? I want to thank you for listening to my little rant, and if I help provoke a thought, let me know. I'd appreciate hearing what you think. And now, before I leave, I'd like to introduce you to a song I recently discovered on freemusicarchive.org. I often like to introduce independent artists to help them reach more people, although I only have a few followers on this channel, so my impact is minimal, but that doesn't stop me from trying to help out. And this next song is by the artist Taylor Poe from the album Safe Behind the Wheel. And the name of the song is Free to Leave. It's kind of a sad song, but the singer has a powerful voice, and I hope you enjoy listening to it half as much as I did the first time I heard it. And now, well, let me get my hat because we're about to listen to some good music. And now let's listen to Taylor Poe, Free to Leave.
Inside a room with no escape. You say you want it, but you just won't do it. So you dream of flying solo a little more each day. Free to leave, but you just won't.